Hello everyone and welcome to the show where after the collision we sift through
the wreckage.
the wreckage. I am your host Jimmy T, that is the vet Jamie Williams, and we're back after a 2-week hiatus, I guess, not because we chose to take the day off, but that's because the NBA chose AEW to take a day off. But we're back right now, and we're back for the Wreckage, vet, and it's been a pretty monumental week for me, actually, in wrestling because of Elimination Chamber, obviously, down in my neck of the woods. And we're not going to get deep into that. If you want to know my thoughts anyway, go check out the Smack Attack with myself and John Enright and our special guest, Inkari J. White. But, dude, how nice was the setting in Perth? I actually thought, wow, it looked pretty nice with the sunset coming down. It looked pretty cool, man.
Yeah, nice visual. New stadium, right? That's relatively new. Like, how long have they had that thing?
6 years. It's 6 years old, but yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah, 6 years is nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything looked cool. I like the setup they had. You know, with like the big canopy over the ring and everything. And,
it rained right before the event, funny enough. It was hot, but it started pissing down, dude.
So, yeah, pretty cool, I guess. Nice looking. They did the tourism thing. You notice everybody hugging koalas and stuff. Is that just are koalas an everyday occurrence in Australia, Jimmy? Are they like just all over the place? Like you just get this koala out of my way, like you're kicking it.
All right, well, get this right. Koalas are everywhere, all over Australia. No shit, they're actually everywhere, but you don't see them in the wild, dude. You just don't see them. Yeah, like you just don't come across them to the point where even I second guessed it, where I'm like, is it koalas in my fucking city, right? So I literally looked it up. They're apparently around, but you never come across them though, man. Never. But what's funny about those things, and I'm sure I've probably mentioned this while we've done the show before, but you do know they have chlamydia naturally, right?
Well, no, because
I
don't ever have to deal with them.
No, they're no shit. They've actually all have chlamydia for some reason. I don't know the exact science behind it, why. But yeah, they either easily catch it or they just seem to be born with it. I don't know why. But what popped me though about the koala, see Kevin Owens turn up to the fucking arena or to the stadium with the damn koala. I mean, that shit made me laugh, I must admit.
Of all the people, right? Kevin Owens.
Well, I don't know if you know this, and you probably do or heard about it, but he's a big zoo fan. Every time he goes overseas, he loves going to whatever city he's in to the zoo. And I assume he probably did that in Perth again. I mean, dude, he was topless with the women, like the women of WWE, like at the beach, dude. I was like, wow, he's topless in front of the chicks, but won't go topless for the world. What's going on there, vet?
Well, you know, it's his uniform. His uniform's a shirt.
I guess.
Labrat says koalas are AI. Maybe that's why you don't.
That's a possibility, man. I mean, shit. I want to come across one in the wild, but you know what, dude? I know we're not here to talk koalas, but I'll say one more thing.
We might as well, because this episode of Collision is... might as well have been AI.
Yeah, well, dude, all right,
so we can talk about koalas as long as we want. The people probably... We'll let the people decide how long we should talk about koalas, so...
Yeah, do you guys want us to talk koalas or AEW?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I mean, come on. Koalas taste good with dill. What's dill? I don't even know what dill is. But anyway,
it's a weed. It's a spice.
Okay. Well, I've never heard of it for some reason. But the point was though, don't ever go up to them in the wild though. So all I'm saying that I saw a woman just on the video. She's walking up to it like, oh, how cute is a koala, blah, blah, blah. No, she goes up to it to pet it, right? And the thing just turned, bro. Started swiping it. She got slashed. Dude, they're dangerous. I mean, their claws are like pretty big. But anyway, enough of the koalas. Yeah. And the Professor Chabela Vera Cruz says, and add some hot sauce to it. I mean, damn. Come on,
Glad the
man.
professor's with us. We're having an effervescent morning this morning.
Absolutely, man.
If he wants to come on and review Collision, that'd be perfectly fine with me.
Prof, if you watch Collision, dude, feel free if you want to jump on. I'll send you an invite, but let us know in the chat.
He was probably part of the reason that it got preempted last week. He pushed, he helped push it off, right? Yeah.
Well,
so appreciate that. That gave us a great HMG extra. So thank you very much, Professor.
Oh, and by the way, that was a great show. I mean, I was in the background. I was going to be part of the show, but I just thought it'd probably be best if I'm not part of the show, only because, like I said, I don't want to sit there just listening to you. It'll look weird, you know what I mean? Even though that's what I was doing, but just to the viewers.
But now nobody knows. But now we pull the curtain back and we see. Yes. And Jimmy was invited. No one told Jimmy to go sit in the corner.
No,
he took himself out of the picture.
Right, exactly. It was my decision, so I elected to produce. But anyway, if you want to check out that show, go check it out on HMG YouTube channel and the PWC, and also at the PWC network. But it was a great it wasn't even an interview, dude. It was like three buddies, and this is why I elected to jump out of it. It was just three buddies shooting the shit, and it was enjoyable, man. Like, they're pretty candid. I mean, it's amazing. Like, you got a lot of friends in pretty high places in terms of pro wrestling, and that was pretty cool to see. And dude, I mean, I'd love to hear you guys again. I'm sure there's plenty more you could have spoken about.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we barely. When we got off, I texted him. I was like, hey, thanks for coming on for a couple hours and barely scratching the surface.
Well, still, dude. I mean, wrestlers are wrestlers, man. So not every, they don't want to talk about absolutely everything, obviously, but use more than scratch the surface. I'm sure you could have gone even deeper, but come on. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved hearing about you, though.
Not even in terms of like dirt or inside stuff, but just like we had so many directions we could have gone on. And I actually had to I was trying to sort of corral it a little bit,
right.
like steer it a little bit just so that we could fit it in a reasonable time. Cause we could have just sat there and talked pretty much all day. I enjoy talking to those guys, and I don't get to do it often. So, it's selfishly, I want to stay on all day, but I also am respecting of their time and everyone else's time. And, I figure better to leave them wanting more than to wish that you just go away. So that's the thing. We could have so many topics, we could have gone on tangents and stuff like that. So that means that, you're right. In the future, we may be able to reconvene, or I'll bring in different people or whatever. Anytime that this was a sort of a serendipitous situation that came up because of the wreckage being, or not. Well, I mean, we didn't take
we did get,
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
The collision getting preempted the same week as this, as Karn tells me he wants to come on sometime. It's perfect timing, right? So that's how that worked out. I'm sure there'll be other things in the future. So just stay tuned, and you never know who might jump in.
That's true, as a matter of fact. And I just want to say, dude, I think, look, this is probably pulling the curtain back a little bit, but I think you underestimate how good you are as a host, dude. I thought you never really want to actually take full control of any show. So I assume maybe I wouldn't say you're not comfortable, because it felt like it was natural to you, to be honest, dude. And it's rare when you host a show. I don't think I've really heard you properly host a show until last week.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if I could say it in a way that it sounds really bad, but I don't mean it like this, but it's if I could just do a whole show, but it's what is Jimmy gonna do? If I provide the play-by-play and the color,
nah.
What do I need? So it's the thing about being a team, I'm a tag team specialist. So the thing about being a team is you have your partner, you have them do their strength, you do your strength, and that's what makes a team. So when I get good producers like yourself, Ray, when I was working with Colin, when I'm working with Jargo, and working with any of those guys, I just let you guys do what you do, and then you guys are the play-by-play, you're the Jim Ross, and I'm the Jerry Lawler, or however that works,
You're much better than the Jerry Lawler, bro. Come on now.
All right, well, maybe I'm better than Jerry Lawler, but I'm just using an example that everybody would
I know
know.
what you're saying. Right.
So that's basically how I look at it. Todd Brantley says, what does he say, Jimmy? See,
Solid Vet.
I'll let you read it.
Solid Vet is the show we didn't ask for, but desperately need. I agree. I mean, you know me. I've pushed for you, and Jargo, for example. That's not on you. That's Jargo's always busy. So, but I've said it to you too. I've said you should do solo shows, but I understand because every time I say I want to do a solo show, I just don't end up doing it because I don't know. Like I just find talking to myself. Well, not talking to myself. Obviously, the chat is there, but it would feel like talking to myself, kind of boring, because I like spitballing off another person. But
right. That's always more fun and easier.
Absolutely easier.
Yeah, when I first started doing podcasts, it was myself and Sergio, and we did one. Actually, we did a couple practice ones that we just recorded to see how it would go, and those never got published. But then we did our first episode, and then in week 2, he couldn't do it. So I was just sitting there, and we didn't go live. We just recorded them. So I'm just sitting there talking into space, and I just felt like the biggest douche because I don't like talking to myself in an empty room. You know what I mean? Just
it is.
It was awkward, but the experience of doing it, if you get that out of the way early, and then it's pretty much everything is easy after that. So, I have done it. It is out there. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it was a great show or anything, but
you underestimate sometimes how good you really are. Well, recently you've been sort of tooting the horn, but generally, I think you know how I feel about you. But when I hear that, it's like you pull your pants down, bitch. Shit, might as well, right? God damn it. But but anyway, but let's get into a bit more wrestling talk, shall we?
Okay. You sure we don't want to go back to koalas? Robert Christensen says, "Can we go back to more koala talk?" So, is there anything else we want to say about koalas? Now, koalas are native to Australia, of course, and then you guys also have the
kangaroos.
Don't you guys have a sloth? Like a
sloth dude.
Thing?
You know what? You'd think I'll know everything about my own country, right? But I learned something thanks to WWE, and I thought it was bullshit when I heard on the press conference before the show actually kicked in the day before, and they mentioned about Rat Island, right? And some of the superstars, including Kevin Owens, went to Rat Island. I thought that was just they were talking shit, you know what I mean? But there's a Rat Island. They're not rats. What are they called, D? Oh, doesn't matter. She's on the headset. But anyway, they're called something, but they're like real cute, like mice. Like honestly, they don't look dirty. And this island, which is just off Perth, is actually full of these creatures. I forgot what they're called. I didn't even know they existed. But they're actually cute. And Kevin Owens was loving these little rats.
Quackers.
Oh, quackers. That's what they're called. Thanks, D. Quackers.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah. Go Google that. I think it starts with the Q. But anyway, Todd wants to know, though, Jimmy, can you explain the shoe to me? Because I don't get it. Well, I will explain it to you. First of all, it stems from an MMA fighter from Australia named Tuivasa. Have you heard of him before, Todd? If you know him, check him out. Every time he wins his fights, he he does a shoey. He gets alcohol, pours it in, and drinks it. Personally, I think it's the most disgusting thing. Even if it's your own fucking shoe, I don't care. Like, why would you? Like, I was looking at, was it Rhea Ripley and Waller that did it, right? On the show before the show. And they were standing outside in the sun in like over 100-degree Fahrenheit now for all our North American friends out there, so you guys understand. It was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside. They're standing around for a good hour, and then they decided to do the shoey gimmick. No thanks. Even if it's my own foot, that would have been steamy as hell, bro.
Well, the alcohol kills anything that would be...
Good point, actually.
It disinfects and is delicious. So that guy invented it? I just thought he was an Australian guy that was doing some weird tradition you guys had, and he just made it famous. No. But no, he invented drinking out of a shoe. So it's not even like it's not even like a tradition. It's just something this fucking guy did.
Yeah, that's all where it stems from. No shit. So, and then now they label it like it's an Aussie thing. You know what I mean? So,
like you all just go and do it. Well, I guess you all are now. I guess everybody has to do it anytime you're celebrating anything.
Not me, just quietly. There's no way you'll catch me doing that shit. Fuck that. I mean, why? Why would you want to damage? Look, not everyone's got $1 million just, in the bank laying around to just do shoeies every fucking day. But, I don't know. I don't get why they do it. But he was there in Perth also, Tuivasa. And, I know. Thank you, Jerome. Liquor does kill germs. Thanks for everyone thanks everyone reminding me. Couldn't you vet? Anyway, look, we'll touch on Elimination Chamber just briefly because I want to know one thing about what you thought. Mm-hmm. It was probably the most predictable PLE of the year already, maybe in the last 2 years, if that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes predictability ain't a bad thing, Vet.
I agree. I think it feels good sometimes to expect things and then get what you expected.
Right.
Unless, of course, what you expected was something you didn't want in the first place. So I guess, but like, there was really only, I mean, obviously you could have gone a different direction than, we'll say, Drew McIntyre, right? Like, to me, it was glaringly obvious. And if it wasn't obvious to them, then it should have been obvious after the last several weeks where he's been knocking it out of the park. Like, he should have earned himself a shot. If they didn't have him penciled in as soon as Punk went down, then he definitely should have shot right up as soon as, he started doing what he's been doing on Raw and everything. So that seemed like an obvious thing. As for the women, I mean, it could have been a different woman, but it was I think the most money match you can make is the match you haven't had yet. So Becky and Rhea is the obvious, we already didn't get, we missed the boat to get like a Ronda versus Becky in a singles. And,
we did.
Yeah. And so, that would have been a first time, and this is a first time thing. So they're probably not going to let this pass them by either. So of course Becky was going to win. And then everything else on the show was like, yeah, we saw it coming, or we didn't care.
I do think, honestly, like in my opinion, I'm not being biased. If anything, I'm pissed that I didn't go in some ways because it's just a beautiful scenic place. But even though Perth is not a big city, really, compared to the East Coast cities, obviously, I mean, it's decent size, but really it's pretty small compared to everywhere else. But it's gaining a lot of traction, though. It's like, it's becoming a bigger city. It's becoming more known. WB made them probably even more, if anything, because they keep mentioning Perth. When they did a
noticed
PLE,
that it's very like Australia, in a bid to make people realize that they do in fact exist, has really been big on tourism. Because even when
it's true. Yep.
Even when like
spot on,
when TNA went down there, they were still Impact when they went down there. But even when they went down there on that tour, they made sure to do all that same stuff, like showing them going to the zoos or showing them with the like indigenous people painting themselves up and dancing and all that stuff. Like they made it, even TNA made a show of that. So that lets me know that it's like part of the deal is like Australia's kind of pushing their tourism.
That's true.
Which makes sense, I guess. So, no problem with that.
All the states here are traditionally Melbourne and Sydney are the two cities that always get everything, no matter what it is. Traditionally, Melbourne is the hotbed for professional wrestling in Australia. Always has been. even including the history. Like, the original WCW in Australia, for example, was based in Melbourne too, right? So, traditionally, Melbourne's always been the place for wrestling, and all the televised shows that's ever happened in Australia and PLEs have all happened in Melbourne. You know what I mean? Not Sydney, not Brisbane. It's just Melbourne. But that's so if people, which I find weird because people, traditionally think Sydney. People think Sydney more so in the US, even though Melbourne as a city has a bigger population than Sydney right now, believe it or not. So, but not state-wise. State-wise, New South Wales, which is where Sydney's in, has more people than Victoria, where Melbourne's in. But you know what? You're probably right, Retro, because there's a hooker spot in a suburb called St Kilda where it's all just illegal hoes, basically. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But anyway, I think the fact that Perth went all out and got that PLE sort of stung the other cities, bro, because traditionally Perth doesn't get shit, bro. Up until this year, they've just gone all out. So all the states are kind of in competition with each other, but it's not always Melbourne and Sydney, it seems now. Perth wants to spend money to get big events. And I must admit, on television, it looked great, man. Like, it really did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Of course. I mean, it's part of your economy. You have to... Yeah. It's a business. Just being a city is just is a business, so you got to do what you can to grow that economy.
For sure.
So, what should they do? Should they just sit back and let Melbourne have everything? Of course not. It's time for them to make a play. So it's positive for them. And you'll probably see that more in the future. As plus to have like a stadium like that, like doing what? You got to use it for something,
Well, yeah, so. It's built. See, in Melbourne, and then we'll get into wrestling proper. The biggest stadiums in Australia are all in my neck of the woods, as in Melbourne. Like, we've got, obviously, the MCG is one of the biggest in the world. It's over 100,000 seater stadium. Always gets updated and renovated. It's over 100 years old, the stadium, but it's really brand new. Like, you know what I mean? They're always updated, obviously. But,
which is crazy because how much space do you need to fit AIs in there? Like,
we've got a lot of arenas too, man. Like, a lot of arenas, a lot of stadiums, and the other one's Marvel Stadium. I don't know if you've heard of that, which is literally Marvel. There's a Marvel Superstore. It's Marvel themed, and it's a dome which fits over 60,000. Also, you know what I mean? Where WWE, the first ever PLE they did here back in 2002, they did it over there. They should do another show there, only because it's got the roof. It's a huge stadium as well. And it's a good sort of look. But I don't know, man. Yeah, absolutely. All the time. I've been there, I don't know, millions of times. But a lot. All of them, dude. Because obviously I love sports too, not just the wrestling. But the wrestling, like WWE have done shows all over Melbourne in terms of arenas. They've actually used multiple different arenas and stadiums. But yeah, anyway, Optus Stadium though is nice. And it was built for their Aussie rules football team called the West Coast Eagles, and for cricket. Because fuck, in this country they love cricket down here. I hate that game. To me, it's a waste of time, waste of space. It's boring. I don't understand why the obsession with cricket, but it is what it is.
I guess any sport is boring if you don't care.
I guess, true.
So one interesting thing was that Triple H came out and said, the attendance, and it was 52,000, which is a good number, of course, but you could fit a lot more people in that stadium. So it's kind of cool.
66,000 is the maximum.
So it's cool to because the WWE is known for inflating their attendance figures. So
I don't think they did this time. It looked about 52,000, right?
Right. So what would be, I'd like to see them kind of go in that direction of you say we got this many people here, but we can do better than that. That next time people will feel like they want to be part of the big event. Cause I think a lot of people that, the ones that went to All Out in Wembley or whatever, a lot of them were going so they could just say they were part of it and setting a record and being a big part of something. And if WWE starts doing that, and every wrestling company starts doing that, then that can bring the houses up, getting those people in there that say, I want to be a part of whatever, rather than just lying and saying, oh, we sold out, and then just fudging all the tickets just to, you know, brag on yourself. I think it's better to be honest and then get the people invested so that, you know, you bring those houses even further up, you know?
Right. And it was not, look, they could have done better, in my opinion, right? The fans, but that I think has a lot to do with us East Coasters sort of bitching about having to go to Perth to the event, because a lot of people didn't want to go because of that reason, because it's out of the way, man, for us, for everyone on the East Coast, and they tend to rip you off right around the event. But the funny thing is the tickets got slashed, Vet. It was like half price like 2 days before. And then I started thinking again, but I just couldn't justify paying $700 one way and then $700 back. Fuck that. Right. Combining that, I can come to the US and go to a damn show. Why would I want to pay that much?
Yeah, even if the ticket prices, you know, are cut, that doesn't mean everything else is going to get cut.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't go. But in some ways, I wish I did go. But what do you think of the Nia Jax Rhea Ripley match, actually, Vet?
Man, I think Rhea Ripley
she
sure was in that match,
practically. Boy. Right? Yeah. I mean, seriously. Man. In front of her folks too, and her sister and her family and whatnot. I mean, come on.
Whatever. I don't give a shit. Her whole family tree could have been there. As long as I get to see it. Man.
Yeah, she's very revealing. Man, she was very I don't think she's wore something as revealing. Don't get me wrong, she's borderline wearing a G-string practically, but in Perth, it seemed like she practically was wearing a G-string. You know what I mean? I mean, shit.
Well, the whole damn thing. Like, that doesn't look like... Let's just say that's not the uniform for necessarily a pro wrestler, but somebody else that might get paid to beat on people. So if you guys missed it and you regret missing it, then I suggest firing up your Peacock and checking out that Peacock main event, boy. Let me tell you. It's worth even having to look at Nia Jax. So
I think she did great, Nia, man. That was a hard-hitting match, dude. Nia just, I don't know, man. I think she's so underrated, dude.
Well, she's been better. It was probably conditional to her rehire. I was like, look, you're going to have to fucking stop hurting people, right? So.
Has she really stopped, though? I mean, she seems very stiff, man.
She does, but to my eyes, she's much more safe than she had been previously.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, for sure, you could say that. No doubt.
I mean, anything could go wrong in a match, but I mean, like, considering she just seemed like she didn't care, and now she seems like she's supposed to be hurting people, and it looks safer somehow. So I think, you know, I think she's upped her game. I'll give her that credit, and she's you know, dropped a lot of poundage as well.
Am I the only one that wasn't seeing that? Everyone tells me that, but she has. Don't get me wrong. She has dropped quite a bit of poundage.
Well, I think when people first started saying it, I think they were full of shit. Because when she first came back, she was totally fat. And now in the past month, you can really notice she's been in better shape. But when she first came back, no, she was still a
heifer.
A waterbed. Yeah.
A waterbed. Jeez, I haven't been on one of those since the 80s maybe. But and I was pretty young then. But anyway, it's funny because I don't know if people realize that she was actually born in Australia, in Sydney, ironically. And I'm talking about Nia Jax. That's actually true. And when she brought it up, that's the first time she brought it up, like at an event in WWE in general. And the crowd sort of got confused. They're like, what? You're born in Sydney? Like they just didn't know how to react to it. But I'm like, I knew that because I asked her years ago if it's true that she was born in Sydney. And she responded. She actually said, yeah, she was. Zane Vicious, the master and ruler of the world, said Jimmy in the United States would be hilarious. Do I look like a clown, Zane? Do I make you laugh? Seriously? No, I'm joking. Well, yeah, I'd love to come to the US. I've got family in the US too that, you know, they've come to see us and I haven't gone and seen them, which I want to. I truly do. It's just
We'll just wait for a PLE to come to their area, and then you can go visit.
well, most of my cousins are in in Cleveland, first of all, and the rest of them are in New York City. I'd love to go to an MSG event. I won't lie, and obviously, I'd love to do a WrestleMania just once, just so I can say I did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
hopefully they do some overseas, but you never know.
You never know. But yeah, so I thought the match was fine. I didn't care. I was just looking at Rhea the whole time. So
I don't blame you. One more thing I want to ask you though. First of all, is it just me? And look, I'm not an idiot. All right. I might sound like I'm getting worked here, but I'm not. I'm self-aware, believe me when I say that. And I'm talking to the chat more so than anything. But did Kevin Owens go extra friggin' stiff on Logan Paul? It's almost like he was a caged animal. Well, it was Elimination Chamber, but he was just eyeing off Logan Paul and absolutely, I felt like he stiffed him a few times.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I kind of wasn't like paying attention to that match as much. Like I had it on.
Really?
But I wasn't like focused on it. So I saw when he, when his pod opened up and Kevin was right there and hitting him and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. They're probably just trying to drum up, some interest for their eventual Mania match.
You should check that out properly, like whenever you can, because I'm telling you, dude, that I don't know, man. It came across as kind of weird. But anyway, enough of the chamber. We are here to talk AEW, unfortunately for us, and unfortunately for the chat, maybe. But just going from WWE and then going to a nice cold AEW, right? Like, we're talking off the air via text before we're doing the show. It did feel like a chore, like watching this shit. And I'm confused because, well, I'll let you take over, but we do start off with the first matchup, which is between Sammy Guevara and Powerhouse Hobbs. Am I missing something? Why was this happening?
Well, you see, on Rampage, there was
that's why.
a thing where Hobbs laid out Sammy Guevara. So,
okay, so then now it's a blood feud, and we're just gonna smash tables like Greek smash plates. That's what it felt like, dude.
I suppose, yeah. We're just going to do that. They should have been a tables match, but then they would have had to cut out. They would have had to cut out like 3 of their spots then, because the first table spot would have ended it. Yeah. So like, look, the only reason I even know that, other than I think the announcer said it on the show, but the only reason I even know that is because if you had been on time, then I wouldn't have watched the point in Rampage where that happened. So. I actually was watching Rampage while I was waiting, and I saw this part where,
no shit.
Yeah. That's funny. So we're just starting off Collision with a no DQ match, with Sammy and Hobbs, right? And like you said, Table City.
Table City, bro. I don't think I've seen more tables get banged up like this match.
It was a little bit ridiculous. So in wrestling psychology, like a tit for tat used to be like in a classic sense. It could be something like, early in the match, perhaps the heel goes for a cover and he grabs the trunks to try to, get some leverage on the baby face, but it doesn't work. Right. And then maybe at the end of the match, right, the baby face gets the handful of trunks and he pins the heel using the trunks. So it's like, haha, you tried to cheat me, but I used your own tactic against you. And, so now you get the baby face with the comeuppance on the heel, right? That used to be a nice tit for tat. Now it's like, oh, you spine bust me through a table. So now I'm going to climb to the top of a ladder and swanton you through a table. Like that's now the tit for tat in wrestling. And after that spot where he swantons Hobbs off the giant ladder from the ring to the outside, it was only maybe a minute before they were back in the ring doing more spots. And Hobbs is putting Sammy through the table for the win.
Dude,
So don't even
this
sell
match,
it, right? Like,
what for, right? I mean, dude, what bothered me about this damn match? One too many, one too many tables. Obviously, I don't think I've seen. I've watched a lot of tables matches over the years, as you would have. Honestly, there was more tables getting smashed than any match I've seen. I'm probably wrong, but no shit, it just felt that way. And what was up with Hobbs? Why was he sweating so hard, dude? Like, I mean, he was soaking up the tables, soaking up the floor, soaking up Sammy and himself. He was overly like drenched, dude.
it's a side effect. I'll let you guess what it's a side effect of.
um,
But let's just say you're for people whose hearts are working overtime, they tend to sweat early and often. I've been really worried about Jonathan Gresham lately. If you guys listen to the Impact Tag, you know I'm concerned about Jonathan Gresham's health because he'll be in a match and he won't even do anything. But 6 or 7 minutes in, he's pouring sweat. So,
well, that's usually a sign of heart issues too, bro.
just saying. I'm just saying I'm concerned, but so yeah, this was just,
Yeah.
Jim Cornette says, well, he says a lot of things. He says no DQ, lazy booking. That's one of his catchphrases. But he also talks about how, where we've evolved as a wrestling audience is people are cheering for the furniture now. They don't care about the wrestlers. Like, it's not that they're cheering for Sammy. They're like, we want tables, which is like,
absolutely.
So you paid. Okay. So let me get this straight. You bought tickets with your money. You drove to the place with your gas money, and you may have even bought some concessions or something to eat while you're watching the show. So you spent all this money and left your house and everything to cheer for a table.
Tables.
Like as if if you're a wrestling fan, you're watching all these wrestling shows and you don't see enough people breaking tables. Now you also go out of your house and you cheer for a table. Not even a table that's there yet. You're cheering for a future table.
Wow.
We want tables. Come on, guys. Quit with all these headlocks and everything. Get to the fucking tables. This is wrestling. So that's where we're at there.
And you know what? It's not the fans' fault. It's the freaking promotion's fault for allowing this to happen in the first place. If they weren't so, I mean, they desensitize a lot of the fan base at this point. I mean,
you can blame ECW. You could specifically blame the Dudley Boys.
Absolutely. Remember that?
Yeah. Whatever. You could just, at some point, fans, as much as they love tables, they really started to love tables in the last 5 years. I don't know what it was. I don't know what flipped the switch, but people are just savagely in love with tables now. So
sad, real sad. Yeah. I couldn't care less, man. I find it more funny when the tables don't break. Serves you right for even trying. You know what I mean? Especially those New Japan tables, bro. They're freaking. How thick are they? I mean, seriously, it's about that thick or something like that, and sort of thin and thick.
They're not meant to be broken. That's the thing.
Rules aren't either, but damn it, they try.
Yeah, they try. Well, speaking of that's a good segue because here we have a Jon Moxley promo. Well, it's him and Claudio.
Wake me up. Wake me up.
They both get a turn. They both get a turn. Yeah, exactly. Well, I won't bother to recant what they said, but they basically were saying something like Jon Moxley was saying something to the effect of like at Revolution, because that's going to be in Greensboro and they had a history of the NWA of tag team wrestling and all this stuff. So FTR thinks they're, the tag team specialists and they want to challenge FTR to a tag team match at the historic Greensboro, whatever, which is like, I'm sorry, are you trying to take away the shine from Sting's last match, which is also a tag team match for the belts? Like, who gives a shit about your match? No one's there to see fucking Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. They're there to see Sting. because
It's true.
and they
It's
don't
sold
even
out
probably
because of that.
I bet a bunch of people probably don't even want to see that show at all, but they're just like, well, it's Sting's last match, so I'll go. Like, you know.
Well, let's be honest, Vet. I mean, that Revolution has sold out in advance because of Sting. That's a fact.
Yeah. No, of course. No, but they ain't selling out anything else.
Nah, hell no. Absolutely not. You know what? I dare say that's going to hurt them without Sting a little bit in terms of, people turning up to their shows, man. I really, truly think that. It's not going to matter to the ratings, or will it? It would be funny if it did, but I doubt it. But, I just think if I was them, I would have him as an ambassador at the very least. I don't know if they will. I don't know if Sting wants to do that. But do you think we would still see him in AEW television? Like after he retires officially, I guess?
I mean, maybe. It depends. I just, if I was Sting, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. It's like, once I'm done, I'm done. I've done enough. But who knows? I don't know. But,
well,
we'll see. We'll see. But I just did think it was funny that, like, the whole thing is kind of built around Sting, and John Moxley still trying to, like, hey, you want a tag team match? I'll give you a tag team. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, Moxley and where's Yuta, dude?
Where's Yuta?
The way.
Yuta
What's going on with Yuta?
Well, he's doing. I have no idea. Where he is.
Oh wait, I know what he's doing. Fuck this shit and jumping off shit. Oh, we got a guest in the house actually, Vent.
Oh yeah.
Look who it is! It is the magnanimous, the glorious Tabello Vera Cruz. Welcome back to the Wreckage. Actually, have you been on the Wreckage before?
No, this is my first one. I've been on the Smack Attack.
Debut.
No.
Yeah,
it's my debut.
The Snack Attack. Oh, well, wow. Yeah.
Did someone say about Meat Madness sale? There's a Meat Madness going on. There's a Meat Madness.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, we're not even to that yet. Oh my goodness. Yeah. How'd you like that?
All I just heard was Meat Madness. Meat Madness. Tony Khan's been saying Meat Madness. That's all that's in my brain. That's all. I'm just getting distracted. Not that I'm distracted by meat. Don't get me wrong. Wreckagites. I'm just saying. That word has just been embedded in my head. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Oh, what's cracking, man? I'm glad you joined us, man. That was a pleasant surprise, actually. But before we do move on, Vet, Prof, I don't know if, I guess you were listening, but what did you think of Collision so far?
Is this a trick question?
It could be.
I'm always the most objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. I always try to keep it like that. I try to keep it fair, but it's funny when you ask me that question, Jimmy, and and hearing the vet every week on the Wreckage give his like eloquent, kind of like
that's a good one.
Straight to the line of observations of things, because of course I am things as vet sees it from the wrestling aspect. I probably look at it from the fandom aspect. So when you ask me about Collision, I'll look at it from this way. So I try to keep it as fair and basic as possible. As far as this episode goes, for a lot of people that are arguing, and I remember this tweet that's been blowing up on social media. I saw it on a couple of wrestling fan pages. People are trying to say, why are we so tribalistic between WWE and AEW, New Japan, yada yada yada. E-drones and AEW neckbeards. We talk about what WWE does do well and what they don't do well, and vice versa, what AEW does well and what they don't do well. So when you ask me about Collision, I say this. As far as the wrestling is okay. The wrestling aspect in the ring is okay. That's what they do best. That's what AEW is all about. But when you talk about Collision, when you talk about American television episodic stuff, that is where they fail and they're piss poor at it. I ain't afraid to say that. And I think Vet agrees
Absolutely,
with
you're right.
and Vet and Jimmy. I think you will agree that they are piss poor
Absolutely.
with telling stories. And people might say, "Well, Professor, they tell stories they don't tell consistent stories in the ring.
They don't.
They don't tell it. They don't tell consistent stories weekly. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, from a couple of weeks ago." I don't want to backdate, but like the Blackpool Combat Club was fighting Mexicans. The Mexican invasion happened. And then a couple of weeks later, FTR said, you know what? Everybody's scared of the Blackpool Combat Club, but we're not scared. And now in Revolution, you know, Jimmy, you know me well. FTR is my team. I've always ride or die with FTR because I always said that they're the best tag team in the last 5 years. But when they haven't booked FTR great since 2022. They haven't booked them great. And now I should be happy that they're getting this platform at Revolution against the Blackpool Combat Club. I just think I'm being jaded because I think we're being cheated out of great storylines because I don't know what the Blackpool Combat Club is supposed to be. I don't know.
Neither do I.
I don't know. You know, are they supposed to be the scariest group in AEW, the top group like the Four Horsemen? But if they're supposed to be the Four Horsemen, they're supposed to be going after the baby faces. They're not. They went after the Mexicans. So what are we? They flip-flop back and forth, and then the Blackpool Combat Club don't like Eddie Kingston. That's all we know. And Eddie Kingston is everybody's favorite common man, like Dusty Rhodes, the man, the Dwayne. So again, Vet, help me out here. What are they doing when it comes to consistency? Because it's not there. I can handle maybe 2 weeks here of a storyline, maybe 2 or 3 weeks here. But, you know, this is American television, Vet. It's supposed to build towards something. And they did this in 2019. They did this in 2020. They haven't done it done it consistently since that time. What have they done wrong? Besides Cody Rhodes leaving.
Well, that was a lot. I will say, I will start at your question is what the consistency. Where is the consistency? I think at least with whatever Tony's responsible for, I think he thinks he's consistent. We want to hear these. We want them to tell us stories. They can tell you a story. That doesn't mean the story's good. I think that's more the problem than anything. I think we're seeing a story, but the story's unsatisfying. Many stories can be unsatisfying. They could still have a beginning, middle, and an end and leave you unsatisfied. CMLL, their turn was up. Now they're got to go back to work where they work. They don't go here, as Bianca might say. So, you know, that's done. Blackpool Combat Club, they just want to fight everybody. They don't care who they are. They want to fight you. They're a combat club. What else would a combat club do? I guess it's as simple as that. I'm not saying it's satisfying. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that in their own twisted logic, they can make sense in vacuums here and there. FTR, on the other hand, well, it's a good timing that you got here because they're up next. It's them. It's FTR versus STP. Right. And that's not the, that's not like the oil or whatever. That's the, Shane Taylor Promotions. So
you already just, Tony Khan just bit the bullet. He could have had STP oil sponsor this match. It would have been money right there.
He probably asked and they said, no, we don't want anything to do with this.
No thanks.
But yeah, so, and so as this match gets started, right. So I see Shane Taylor. I'm like, oh God. Here we go again. We're gonna beat Shane Taylor, but we're not gonna beat Shane Taylor because Lee Moriarty's there. So at least I have the faith that they'll do the right thing in this situation, right? But as the match is getting started, the announcers let us know with a graphic that indeed Tony made Jon Moxley's idea official during the break. That it will be, it will be FTR versus Blackpool Combat Club at Revolution. And it makes me just the first thing I think whenever they do this, right? And tell me if you guys think the same thing. Whenever I see this, it's like, was Tony just waiting for the wrestlers to book his card for him? And he's like, whew, good thing Jon Moxley had an idea because I was going to have 20 minutes of blank space on this pay-per-view, which I think we could all agree we could use 20 minutes off the pay-per-view at least.
Absolutely. Facts.
Yeah.
You for AEW pay per view. There are 3 matches we can always say is fine for Dynamite. It's fine for Collision, or it's even fine for Rampage. But they want to put
Sure.
that on for a 4-hour pay per view straight. You know. And by the way, did you see that? There's another thing going on Twitter or X or whatever, and they had this cheat sheet about Elimination Chamber, the wrestling time of Elimination Chamber in comparison to a AEW pay per view, and people are, again, this is the tribalism. AEW people are like, see, WWE drones, why are you like going for a 4-hour pay per view and you only got like about 2 hours of wrestling? You know why some people like that, guys? I'll give you an answer, because there's eps, flows, breaks. You actually, if you're going there, you know, is an NFL game, guys, 4 hours straight? No, there's commercials. There's a halftime. There's breaks.
Right.
Is an
For
NBA
sure.
game 4 hours straight? Hell no. There's a first quarter break, second quarter break, intermission, third quarter break, timeouts. Same thing with baseball. There are breaks. For some strange reason, I guess this is maybe the indie mark logic that people have been brainwashed with. I gotta sit there and wait and go 4 straight hours of watching wrestling. I can't do that. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta buy a beer. I gotta get some nachos. Give me time to, like, you know, digress, enjoy the match I had, and give me a match that sucks. So this way I can go to take a shit for a second and then get my nachos and refill. That's the way I look at it from my logic.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you ain't wrong, Prof. I mean, it's true. I don't know. With the thing about TK, he seems to think that, you know, more wrestling is better, like in his weird way of thinking, and less story. See, the thing is, the AEW neckbeards will come out and tell you, no, you're just an idiot. There is story. Look over here, look over there, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's a load of shit. The fact that they just sit there and just, you know, stand behind TK and his bullshit booking, it drives me bananas, like, legitly. It really does, because I just don't understand how they can see past that. But I guess that's one thing AEW's managed to do, is actually get a somewhat loyal, I guess, fan base that sticks by him no matter what. You know what I mean? And am I crazy? Like, Vet, I mean, why does this company think this way?
Well, I think Professor said it without even really meaning to say it at the time, but when he said indie mark logic. So
Yeah.
if you know anything about indie wrestling, you know that these promoters will put on a show and they'll have whatever they got, and then guys will show up at the show hoping to get booked, and they'll add them to the show, which adds to the time of the show. And some of these indie shows will end up being like 3-4 hours when you only originally had a card of, you know, maybe like a few matches. But now that everybody showed up with their gear in the trunk and said, hey, I'm ready to go, you know, can I get on this show? And now, like, how many times have you heard of this happening? Well, AEW has got so many people under contract, more than they actually need. And they're constantly bringing people in internationally or whatever to do stuff. They've always got too many people. And so these AEW pay-per-views, they sort of balloon up to the point of where they get to be 4 or 5 hours sometimes. And it is just straight wrestling. And I guess if you're a person that just loves pro wrestling matches, that's fine. And that's the audience that you're going to get. And they're going to get exactly what they want. Maybe they don't want to see Kevin Owens hug a koala. Maybe they just want wrestling. So
Maybe.
okay, you know, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you about what you want. But I think that's the reason. I think because this is just an indie show at the end of the day, it's just an indie show with a budget, and that's how they book it. Now, one of the things that, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that the WWE was having 6-hour single night WrestleManias, or
Right.
every one of their pay-per-views was just going way too long. That was a few years ago they were doing that. But now, one of the things that they've done that I've always said they should do, since I noticed this was becoming a problem, is like, look, every match doesn't have to be on the pay-per-view, like Professor said, and that gives you a nice TV main event. You know, we get a lot of nice intercontinental title defenses for main events of Raw, or just something that you look forward to, at the end of a show, at the end of a Raw or SmackDown. It's like, hey, we don't need every single match on the pay-per-view, but here's a nice match for TV. Angles can end up on TV. And AEW, sometimes you'll think they did that, like they gave you a nice TV main event, and then they'll still throw a bunch of extra random crap on the pay-per-view. So
literally like random crap, but yeah.
So
and we talk about consistency as you're going to talk about FTR and BCC. They had a 20-minute draw on Dynamite just to do a rematch, which probably will be the 60-minute, full match on the card.
Right.
So they're going to give them 40 extra minutes.
Which you'll only do the time limit draw when it's an angle. No one will ever just have a time limit draw in a regular no angle cold match, right? But so the match here. Now Professor said that FTR is his ride or die tag team, and they've been the best tag team of the past 5 years. I would also counter that the bar has been so lowered that they just moved up by default. And here's an example of one of the things. Here's an example of how, as good as FTR are, there's still a lot they have to learn. So in the opening spots, right, it's Dax and Shane Taylor, and they do this thing. They're trying to tell the story that that Dax cannot move Shane Taylor with a simple running shoulder tackle, right? Like he runs into him, boom, Shane Taylor stands there as you'd expect he would.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And Dax is like, oh, let me try again. Oh, okay. Then we do a little habit hey, habit ho. He slips over, grabs a waist lock on Shane Taylor, and easily runs him to the ropes. Like from behind, he just grabs Shane Taylor around the waist and they run to the ropes. Have you ever tried to move a human being by grabbing them in a waist lock and walking forward with them if they don't want to move? Especially somebody the size of Shane Taylor.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
he had a better chance of knocking him down with a shoulder tackle. Let's put it that way from a physics standpoint.
But Vet, you're not getting the axis of the angle of the gravity at a certain point of its axis. I'm just trying to, give you the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not getting it because I live on Earth. But yeah, that's like that's one of those things. And then, later on in the match, they'll like Shane Taylor with one of those big drumsticks that Shane Taylor has, hits a knee lift on Dax in the face, and Dax don't even take a bump. He just staggers to the corner. He's tough. So, these guys are a joke to me, but I'm glad everybody else likes them. I guess they are doing the closest thing to tag team wrestling that we can see nowadays, because they still have all their old VHS tapes and everything like that they can rip off without understanding how any of that stuff worked or where the psychology came from. But hey, that's fine. And at least they knew enough to beat Lee Moriarty here and not Shane Taylor. So that was good. And then after the match, luckily, we're so blessed to have a mic performance from these guys in which they say that I think they intimated that at the pay-per-view, they're going to kill Jon Moxley. But Professor, if I missed that, or if I misinterpreted what he was trying to say, that he was going to do a murder at Revolution, you can correct me, feel free. But overall, what did you think of the match and everything else?
Well, first of all, if that was an interpretation, then the lawyers in, I believe, Florida or North Carolina are going to use that as Exhibit A, B, C, and D for Cash Wheeler's
yes,
deposition over there. So he's going to go to jail. So you can't do that. So I would have to say, as a defense attorney, he was not in the right state of mind. He was already in a certain situation. But again,
we're just going to wave our gun at Jon Moxley. We're not going to.
Yeah. But again, it just defeats for I think a lot of people within the Hamin Media Group, everybody has always praised Shane Taylor Productions or promotions. What is Tony Khan not doing with them? We've seen them for, especially Shane Taylor over the years, untapped potential as the Ring of Honor television champion. He's not being, utilized in the highest degree. All I've just seen here is part of the consistency. Well, he had a great match against Jon Moxley. He had a great match against Claudio. Well, they've had a great match against FTR. They're a great hand, I guess. So Shane Taylor Promotions is the great hand promotion. So that's the way I'll look at it from that standpoint.
Hey, that's a good one.
Hey, but again, if it's the consistency of the storyline, then fine. You built the storyline for FTR and the BCC for Revolution. God bless Tony Khan. At least he kept it consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, is cashed in about to go to jail, do you guys think? I mean, he has been charged, hasn't he? Officially?
I think he's been charging. Then the trial date's set in, was it March? I forget, but
Yeah, I think it was March.
Yeah, he has to go. The trial date's in March, so maybe that's why they haven't pushed FTR maybe to the tag team title scene, maybe to a higher profile scene. So they got to stick to that maybe mid card tier right there.
FTR mid card guys, can you believe that?
I don't feel that way, but again, that's just my humble opinion. So I try to stay, I might be biased towards them, yes, but I'm right. I'm biased towards FTR because I like them, but I try to stay as objective as possible. But when it comes to FTR, I have to give them benefit of the doubt because they're not being utilized, right? Because again, those goddamn young bucks have stolen their thunder so many times I can't count.
Damn EVPs.
Yeah, I mean, look. I don't personally care for FTR, but I'm not going to sit here and try to defend the booking of FTR. I mean, just because I may see things about them that I don't enjoy doesn't mean I was like, well, I'll just beat Dax in a singles match every other week just because. Like, I'm not going to do that. There's still a way to get the proper utilization out of all the pieces that you have in play here on the chessboard. So you want to read that one, Jimmy?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, Darkside Caster says that is so good. If Cash does go to jail, I guess he'll go hard all day and night. So yeah, the WWE fucking theme.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's actually quite good, Dark. I like it. But yeah, please continue on, Vet.
All right. Well, we get a package for Brian and June here. We're hyping up the main event.
Wait. Why is June Akiyama here, man?
Oh,
what did I miss here?
Because that's Eddie Kingston's favorite wrestler.
I knew that. That's why he wears the yellow and black, right? Yeah, I get that. But I didn't know June was a bum.
The yellow and black is for Kawada, Jimmy. Get real.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it was Kawada.
He's just one of his favorites, yeah.
You're right. My bad. Yeah. Spot on, Vet. That's why he's the Vet.
The consistency, Jimmy, about the storylines. This is one of Eddie
I'm
Kingston's...
confused, dude. I don't even know what's... See, they're fucking my pro wrestling memory up.
Well, it's a tale of two consistencies. No. It's a tale of two consistencies because for Brian, this is his supposedly swan song year. So he's fighting all his dream matches that he's getting. But for some strange reason, he just wanted to irk Eddie Kingston so much that he has to be one of his people that he's either respected over the years and stuff like that. I get that. That's no problem. So, but you're trying to, combine two consistencies into one match.
Yeah. Two birds, one stone, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's funny. A good transition because we have a Ladybird next. And she's going to be taking on Thunder Rosa. So Ladybird Monroe versus Thunder Rosa here. Thunder Rosa wins with the, I guess it's the Rosa Bomb or something. I don't know. I'm not really paying attention.
Some shit.
Wasn't Ladybird one of those students that chase you? I don't know. She just looked familiar.
Was she?
She probably sat in the back or something. I don't know. It just looks so familiar.
Yes.
I've never seen her before. I didn't know. I mean, that's the first. Is she really called a Ladybird?
Well, that was her name.
I think.
But why would you call yourself that?
I don't know. She probably has a very interesting story all about it. If anybody knew who she was, I'm sure I've seen her on Ring of Honor scrubbing through the episodes, but not really too familiar with her work. And I didn't get too familiar here. I think I was eating my lunch when this happened, and
I went.
When I looked down, it was over.
I took a piss during this match, straight up. So I didn't hear the announcement of Ladybird. I literally didn't know. All I saw was stars on her tights.
Yeah, that was it. Professor,
this was a statement match for Thunder Rosa, and I guess
statement match.
It is because I'm glad this was a statement match, and this is not even I'm not even taking a dig at this because
he's being serious.
Thunder Rosa should not be spending 20 minutes with Ladybird that no one has ever heard of. Technically, this is her AEW Collision debut. No way in hell. If you gave Ladybird 20 minutes against Thunder Rosa, then Thunder Rosa would be the loser of this, even though she would have won the match no matter what. So I'm glad it was a statement match.
Lady Bird was LBJ's wife's name. Liz, you're funny. That's funny.
I'm sure that's just a historical fact. I don't think she was making a joke, but
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see who we could have had doing something else instead of this that would have been a little bit more fun. Because we got Renee with Willow and Stat and Stokely, so they do a little thing here. But you know, not too much, just a little backstage, little.
Do they have a name yet? This crew, or is it still the Stokely sort of crew? Whatever happened to that? They just ended it.
Oh, the firm? Yeah, that ended. That name's gone. This is just
so they gone
Willow.
soft.
It's Willow and Statlander and Stokely.
Yes. The gimmick is that Stokely is in absolute love with Chris Statlander, and Willow is tolerating him, and he's tolerating her, so they have an uneasy sort of a triangle here. Cool. And Stat doesn't really want anything to do with Stokely, but she kind of is warming up to him a little bit, which is causing some tensions. So there's your story, guys. Consistency.
There you go.
Yeah. No one said it was good, but they are consistent. So there you go. And I mean, look, you know, Professor, you should be well familiar with my a la carte theory by now, right? Like it's common knowledge amongst all of Hamin media and everywhere, right? Channel attitude. A la carte. So it doesn't matter what he's doing. I will take a Stokely Hathaway, please. Just whatever it is. I'm happy to get a table scrap of Stokely Hathaway. So
he makes it entertaining, no doubt about it. Absolutely, but I agree with you 100%. Sure. So with with the chicken shit angle, he makes it into chicken salad. So that's what it is. So it's very entertaining. So from what I look at it, it's like, again, where are we going to go with the payoff? I guess will be Willow and Chris Statlander at a future, maybe Dynamite at a future pay-per-view. Well, I can't say pay-per-views because that's WWE logic, because that would be a monthly pay-per-view, and then
exactly.
And AEW is not doing monthly pay-per-views just yet until this streaming deal finally gets finalized. So this way we can get our goddamn. So Tony Khan can make some damn logic make sense. So that's the problem that he has. No streaming deal finalized yet. Tony, do your job and get it done. God damn it.
I mean, shit, you can afford a streaming company, can't you? Just buy out Netflix or something. I mean, shit. Anyway.
Well, we got Honor Club.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway.
How many subscribers does Honor Club have at this point? Honestly, do you know? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but they're down one as of this year.
Actually, down
for
two.
Myself. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I know another person.
I was an Honor Club member back when it was under the Sinclair bubble. So I did buy it, and then I, discontinued it.
Well, speaking of discontinued, we get the Bang Bang Scissor Gang versus the Bear
this is bad, dude.
Country Savage Ass Gang.
Savage Ass Gang?
Yeah, whatever. What was up with speaking of consistency of stories, what was up with Max just cutting off his own rap in the middle and saying, we're not doing this?
He fucked up. He literally choked. That's how I took it. I mean, he literally choked, man. And even the crowd, if you notice, that's what it looked like to me. The fans, they went quiet.
The crowd was confused because, again, literally, are you trying to do an angle? Because, again, this is bad consistency because you're just rehashing a storyline between the Acclaim, Badass Billy Gunn, and, again, his boys. And now you're just adding Jay White to the mix. So it is what it is, but you're just rehashing a storyline that happened back then. I get that. But the problem is we know that they're going to break up again. We know that you can't have two trios championships. You're going to have to unify this stuff because you're doing a disservice to the trios division. I don't care what you say. I'm not going on Honor Club to see the Bang Bang Gang defending the trios title on Honor Club.
Neither are they going on it. They ain't going on it either. Trust me.
So
I would know.
You got to combine the title. You got to unify the titles for the greater good, Tony. That's what you got to do. But again, it is bad. And then if this was intentional, let's do the hypothetical, Jimmy and Vet. if this was hypothetically intended that Max Caster did a brain fart that he did not want to do his freestyle because of being all together in this one bubble, does it make sense? Because you haven't done anything, because that's his shtick. He only messed up, I believe, one time in a rap, and that was Rampage, and then they edited it out, or he had to redo it. So if this is intentional, it makes no sense. Why would you mess up his shtick?
It wasn't intentional. He was trying to cover up, man. That's why. He forgot what he was going to say and whatnot, and then he just tried to cover it up, and he realized it went over like a fart.
The jabronis in the ring, he can't make fun of jabronis that no one even cares about. That's the problem there.
Then don't fucking do it in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, I hate this bang bang, dissect gang, choke gang, chain gang. I haven't really heard this before. Like the chain gang back in the day. I wonder who the leader was of that gang. But anyway, the point is, why do we need... I feel better. I know me and you, Vet, used to say, look, it doesn't matter. As long as we see Jay White on television, that's all that matters, right? I'm sorry now, though, Vet. I got to say, I'm getting pissed now with the way he's booked, bro. He's being booked like a... What is he?
Let's put the positive spin back on it in the a la carte sense, right? So I ordered a Jay White, right? And at least I got to see what a Jay White comeback looks like in 2024. I don't know if I've ever seen Jay White make a hot tag comeback in my life. So, that was a new experience for me, and I was very excited to be a part of it.
A new experience. I love it.
Overall, in the overarching picture, I don't like any of this, but I will try to, remain like positive in that sense. I got to see something new. But this is like, I don't think this is any sort of a good use of, like all these guys really.
Yeah. To be fair, as you would say, Prof, to be fair. There you go. Nice.
But again, here's the problem here, because I want to get Vet's opinion on this too, because again, from a Tony Khan logic standpoint, he's trying to sell Jay White because we know that if you've watched New Japan, if you know his history and he sold out Madison Square Garden in 2019, he will remind you about that.
Single-handedly.
He reminds you about that. But again, he's banking on the history. But that only goes so far, because now you're in AEW and you got to use that history in a positive way, in a momentous way. And he had his chance against MJF at that pay-per-view. He came up short. That's fine. I'm not saying he should have won the title or he's buried. But again, and I guess Juice Robinson being injured really is hurting the bang bang gang
big time. Yeah,
because then from the direction of where they wanted to go, because to me, they were like predators. They could go after anybody, anytime, anywhere, and they could be funny too. But now here, they're a comedy relief. But he's trying to bank on that history of Jay White and Bullet Club. But every year that goes, it's like Finn Balor in WWE. Yeah, he was the original leader of the Bullet Club, but now that's 10 years to the past. Now Finn Balor has his own history, his own legacy, and all that stuff. You can't bank on history that's already passé.
Yep.
Well, I would agree with that, and I would agree with that, and I would even go one step further and say I don't even really think he's trying to bank on it anymore. Like like Jay White is just lost, and he just got saddled with Billy Gunn's kids, and Juice Robinson. They had a little tag team and all, but I mean these guys. This is not the use of Jay White. I'm sorry. It's just not. And, the thing about coming up short in his big main event angle, it wasn't just so much that he came up short. It was the way they did it. Like the way they basically crippled MJF and still had him win. Like I would never have done all that stuff if he was just going to beat Jay White anyway. I would have just let MJF not be hurt, So I don't know. There was just a lot of things about that, but it's not exclusive to Jay White. There are many guys that get heated up for a period of time in AEW and then they're just completely forgotten about because there is no plan. And how could there be a plan when you've got so much on your plate? Like how can One plate. He's like Tony Khan is like juggling plates. Like this is the
I don't mean to cut you off. And Todd Bradley makes a point because they haven't, with the consistency word of the day, boys and girls, right there. You got it. Undisputed Kingdom. They attacked them. They've attacked the Bullet Club Gold. They've attacked.
Oh yeah.
And they
what happened with that?
They haven't done anything to. I guess
I forgot all about that. Right.
Maybe we'll wait till Rampage. That'll be the great show to actually do a consistent storyline with that, Brantley.
Or maybe Ring of Honor guys, where no one watching. You know what I mean?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, no, not one of these guys have been on Ring of Honor the whole time. But that is the thing. Like, we don't see them interact. We don't even know, are they booked in the same buildings? Like, there could be a reason why Undisputed Kingdom and Bullet Club Gold are not interacting, or Bang Bang Scissor Gang or whoever. I don't know. Look, it's bad. That's all I know. It's too much for me to try to keep track of all this. And it's bad. So let's just say we know who wins this match. There was never any doubt. And whatever angle that they think they're trying to do right now has to do with something with Billy Gunn accidentally knocking Jay White off the apron on a match they had recently or something. Like, that's the old, oh, my partner bumped me accidentally, so now I'm gonna fucking kill him. Like that whole thing in wrestling. Like, we haven't seen that enough. So, there we go.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why why people keep coming back and keep paying their hard-earned money, Vet. You know this.
I do know this. Well, I also know that Lexi Nair is with Bryan Danielson, and Danielson makes fun of Eddie Kingston and the way he does promos, and talks about how unprofessional he is and he hates him and all this other stuff. So,
can I ask you something though before we move on, Vet? For the last few weeks on this very show, well, not the Wreckage, but Collision, was Danielson not giving Kingston any attention, like, to his face, like just pretending he's not even there, right?
Yeah, but he would like ignore him. Yeah.
But in this segment, in this promo, he mentioned Kingston's name probably about 50 times.
Well, because Lexi asked him a direct question, so he got heated. I don't have a problem with that.
And remember, they're fighting a Revolution, and if Eddie Kingston wins, then Bryan Danielson is forced to shake his hand and respect Eddie Kingston. So it's all part of
that's compelling. That is so compelling. You know what I would have done, honestly, if I was TK? I would have Danielson not turn up to the match at all, where he finds him that he looks at him like a fat piece of shit, where he's like, no, you know what, you're below me. If you're gonna have him as a friggin' heel, heal him up like big time, man. Like, I mean, have him disrespect Kingston totally. No, you're not on my level. I don't want to wrestle you. I don't care if it's scheduled. I just don't even want to be in the same space as you. Look at you, like, you're below me. Like, I know that's bad storytelling right now, Vet, right? But at least play it up a bit more. I feel like this was all sort of rushed, and then we're gonna have a blow off. Or maybe we're going to have a literal blow-off, and they might as well blow each other off in that match. Because really, I couldn't care less about this stupid feud.
Well, Jimmy, to answer that question, I mean, remember, they were building up Eddie Kingston for the Continental Classic. They were building
and I said he was going to win it. I said it at the start of the tournament. I go, you watch, he's going to win it because it's all about him in that tournament.
It's all about him, and it's all about those titles that he accumulated too. So, but technically, it should have ended there at World's End, where he should have got the respect out of Bryan Danielson, where he should have got the respect out of Moxley and Claudia and all that stuff. And maybe he could have been an honorary BCC member or all that. But they wanted to continue that into the new year and then kind of like sprinkle this into Revolution, where Danielson does not have no respect for him. That's fine. I can actually accept it. But again, what are you doing with Eddie? What are you doing with Eddie Kingston? Again, these titles, the titles that he has, well, again, another great example of not being an Honor Club member, because the Ring of Honor title is on Collision, is on Dynamite, is on Rampage. He's not even on Honor Club where he's supposed to be with those titles. And he's a New Japan Strong champion, and then this Continental Classic, which I thought was going to hybrid all this all
That's
together.
what I thought.
No, he's.
I was asking that week in, week out. I'm like, so I'm not confused. Wasn't these three belts supposed to become one? But that just didn't happen. Right.
It didn't happen.
Well, in fairness, no one ever said it. That's just what we all assumed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm pretty sure they did say it.
Yes. No, that's right. It's our fault. We
Was it?
assumed too
Oh,
much.
why did we assume that then? How did we all assume this shit?
Look, Jimmy, damn it, listen. All right, stop caring.
Look,
You
we made
don't
sense.
quit
You're right,
pretending.
you're right.
We were making
Quit
sense.
pretending you even care. Like, what's the difference if he's
You're right.
If he's
I don't give a fuck.
consolidated or if he carries 3 belts? What's the difference? He's a triple
funny.
crown champion. The end.
That's right. My
Until
bad, you're
someone
right.
beats him, or someone cherry picks one of the titles to challenge him. Like, I want this one. Then
Literally, like
just-
that right there. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's
Start
Eddie
going
3
like
belts.
this.
All right, that's
Yeah.
it.
The
Period.
breakfast champ.
Right. Now, speaking of championship material, Brian Keith, and he's going to be taking on Malachi Black here in a rare singles outing for Malachi.
Very
All right.
rare, actually.
So rare.
It's been 2 years.
So yeah, these guys have a match.
This one, I will have to give Tony Khan credit. He made a great 2-year storyline out of this. He made all the fans like want Malachi Black to have a singles match. We were festering it. We kept tweeting at him, and Tony Khan said, "Here you go, bitches. We're giving you the goddamn match. All right, we're giving you the breadcrumbs."
When we
That's a
least
payoff.
suspected it.
That's a payoff right there.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my
Or maybe just there was a bounty, right, on Malachi Black, but only him. Not Julia, not Buddy, not Brody. Just the bounty was just on Malachi. So Brian Keith is here to collect.
I guess I have to go back with my professor logic. But when you do a bounty on a wrestler, the wrestler has got to be a baby face. I'm just quote unquote. That's where bounty's going. Malachi's never been projected as a baby face. Just because fans just cheer because of the ambiance, the charismatic nature, and the lights going off, that doesn't make him a baby face. And when did Mark Briscoe have all this money to put a bounty on his head? I'm just saying.
Oh, well, maybe he didn't. But I'm just saying maybe somebody did.
Maybe got a loan.
Maybe Buddy put the bounty on him so he could get more singles matches. I don't know. We don't know. It's a mystery. We don't, I'm not even saying there was a bounty. I'm just saying he's a bounty hunter. And going with the thing that we pitched 2 weeks ago, Jimmy, when we got big bounty Brian Keith, big business in Boston, right, coming up. So, you know, I had this idea, Prof, where you know, the gimmick could be anytime that somebody on one of these shows does something they're not supposed to do, like say stab Mark Briscoe in the head with a spike for no reason, like that's, you know, that's illegal. That's beyond the bounds of wrestling. So you know, perhaps instead of like finding somebody, the fine could become the bounty, and he can, like, you know, Brian Keith can go and he can collect Julia Hart and be like, here you go, put her in Tony's office, like, you can fine her and then give the fine to me now for my bounty. Or we could have a whole new bounty hunter gimmick that's different than like all that, you know, horseman stuff from the 80s and all that other stuff now.
You know, I love it. But here's the problem. Brian Keith is like 5'5". I just can't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm visual vet.
Well, okay,
you're
but counterpoint.
5'5", you can't collect the bounty. I'm sorry. You can't just
Counterpoint. He's got all kinds of tools he can use. He can use a lasso. He could use he can use a horse, like darts, tranquilizer darts. Like there's all kinds of ways to get around.
No, counterpoint. He's the size of Yosemite Sam. It just doesn't work.
Okay. Could he? Well, Julia Hart though, like he could collect that bounty, right? So we just have to be selective in which ones we choose. Look, in the Old West, you go to the post office and you look at the bounty posters and you decide if you want to try to collect, right? So, I mean,
facts.
He can be a little selective with his and there's plenty of guys smaller than him at AEW you could go after. So you guys all got to mind your P's and Q's and not commit any wrestling crimes, because the bounty hunter could come after you.
If you're 5'5" and shorter, I'm with you. Collect the bounty.
There you go.
Well, Josh in the chat, or T and Kupina, says, put the bounty on yourself to get on TV.
There you go.
That's actually a good idea. Maybe that will work.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time. They will do none of this, of course. But I don't think personally it would be any less ridiculous than the stuff they are trying to get over. So I would just like to see, like, if we got a bounty hunter, let's go with that. But in any case, yeah, they have a match. It ends the way you'd expect. Black Mass. Does he still call it Black Mass? I don't even know anymore.
I think they did call it Black Mass.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure. And then afterwards, the lights go out, and then they come back on, and Mark Briscoe's there, and he's got a spike, and then he tries to kill Malachi with the spike, which, you know, you might have to put a bounty on Mark Briscoe now. But then, he has avoided it, and then they kick the shit out of Mark Briscoe and everybody, and the house always wins, and yada, yada, yada. So,
Yada, yada, yada.
Did you notice something visually? Because, again, just a couple of weeks ago, FTR, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia was all involved with the House
What
of
happened
Black.
to that?
And then they had the match. That was the blow off in the cage. It was a good match. I'm not denying that. But Mark Briscoe's still continuing. Now it's just turned to 3-on-1, and FTR is a little bit busy. Daniel Garcia is busy with his program. I mean, again, unless you're going to do a seance for Jay Briscoe, you know,
Oh my god!
rest in peace. But again, Mark Briscoe needs backup. And I guess you like the vet said, the bounty hunter Brian Keith, but he's too small. It's like, again, it just doesn't. It's like Arnold. It's Arnold Jackson from Different Strokes.
Arnold Jackson.
Mark Briscoe. It just
man,
it don't work. It don't work me visually.
Yeah. Not to mention he just got knocked the fuck out anyway, so it's not like he's in a great shape to be. Yeah, I you know, you're right. I suppose FTR was in the shower at the time and they just couldn't dry off fast enough. Daniel Garcia not there at all, so
he's dancing his way out of the building apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's busy. Again, he got Christian. I got that, you know. But again, now it's just turned into 3-on-1. It's like, you know, you left me high and dry, FTR. What's going on here? That doesn't mean FTR rides and dies with people. That's not their nature. But you can't do that logically on the team. Like but you can't do that logically here. Now it's 3-on-1 with or 4-on-1 with the House of Black and Mark Briscoe. It just kind of looks stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Facts.
So,
but
yeah, this is not the best use of a Mark Briscoe, who's definitely one of my a la carte items is Mark Briscoe, and 100%. This is not how I want to see.
Well, Josh wants to know who would you get to back up Mark Briscoe. Well, I think the prof already answered that question, Josh. You know, we got to do a seance and bring Jay back. That's the only way. And don't put it past TK. He might do that.
That Big Bear Country Tag Team, whatever they're called. Whatever
what are they called now again? Big Bear Ass Rashing Up.
Iron Savages.
Well, that's whatever. Right.
They just look the part to me. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they look like savages.
Bear Country is definitely a fitting name for sure.
Bear Back Country. Yeah, definitely.
Let's just say that there was some definite entendres when they came up with that name. But
oh my.
They took the Sting and Darby promo from Dynamite and they cut this into a little package. And then we get, here's another professor. The professor of professional wrestling, Serena Deeb, is taking on, I guess, a friend of a friend of Lady Frost here. That's so it's true. Deeb versus Frost. This would be the one match I paid attention to for 100%.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, that was, let's just say without assigning blame to anybody, because I think they were both guilty, or maybe it's just a lack of chemistry, but not the best match here. Just, you know, that's how I felt about it. But you got to think, like, Lady Frost still learning, Deeb still coming back. It's not necessarily the recipe for like a classic. But nevertheless, you can't win them all. Professor, did you see anything different?
I'll look at it from a standpoint of you can't copy two matches. I mean, Thunder Rosa had the statement match. Serena Deeb had to have the, you know, catch as catch can kind of match with Lady Frost. Yeah, the timing wasn't there. The chemistry wasn't there. I get you with all that. And of course, Serena Deeb is coming back from her ailments and stuff like that. So I could give her a pass on that. Again, for me, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. What do you want to do with Serena Deeb? She made that bold statement weeks ago on Collision that she wants titles and all that stuff. We know Julia Hart I think she's injured, if I'm not mistaken. And of course,
is she?
Yep.
Timeless Tony
Okay,
Storm is she's got her plans, and of course, Deanna. I don't want to go on a diatribe, but Deanna Purrazzo is just an afterthought because everything is being set up for Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné once Mercedes Moné makes that debut at Big Business. So I feel sorry for Deanna Purrazzo right there, but you can't have two of the same kind of statement matches because then it turns into WWE Superstars, turns into Wrestling Challenge, turns into Saturday Night, and of course the fans
primetime wrestling
and primetime, and primetime. But the fans have an appetite for wanting a staunch wrestling contest. So Serena Deeb and Lady Frost, on paper, the names mean something.
I was going to say the same thing. On paper, it seems like a good match.
The Martards are happy for that. But then what happens is the reality sets in. No chemistry. Serena Deeb's coming back and try to get her timing going. Lady Frost, again, she's not consistently on AEW television on a weekly basis. So she can...
Every second week now.
It seems like that, but that's not enough. You just need consistency. I hate to say that word again, boys and girls, but there should be a bell right now, Jimmy. Get that soundboard going with the bell. But I'm just playing, but don't worry. There should be some consistency for Lady Frost being on TV as much as possible, so this way she can develop that timing too.
Can I ask, guys, before we move on? I know, look, both of these fine women are friends of friends. Well, yeah, Deeb's actually your close friend, Vet, but even Frost, I've even had interactions with Frost and her husband. They were actually in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, funny enough. But in saying that, and I'm going to say it straight up, is do people hype up Lady Frost way too much? She's only been in the business, I think, for like no more than 5 years, right? Believe it or not. Do you think she's a little overrated? I just think others make her look a lot better than what she really is, if that makes any sense. And I don't even understand.
No. I'll say this. There's nothing wrong with propping up somebody that you know. Because
of course,
from the standpoint that you're saying, well, let's say if I'm the friend of Lady Frost saying, you got to see her. I'm propping her up because I know of the potential. I know what she can give or whatever. It's like anybody. If I like somebody, like, you got to see this person, XYZ. Just give them a chance to be on TV. Just give them the chance. Just give them the ball and let them run with it. It's the same thing. And of course, I don't think nobody is overrated. That's just the way I look at it. But if I'm going to prop you up, I'm just trying to give that person their just due, their support and all that stuff. Because again, wrestling's a dirty business, and Vet already knows this. So if anybody could prop up somebody and just give them that opportunity and they take advantage of it. Now, if she falls flat on her face, I can't do anything more than try to prop them up. I have to give them the support that they deserve. But if they don't take advantage of the opportunity, what can I do? So it's a catch-22 in my opinion.
But you would have thought you would have actually taken advantage of an opportunity like that to face somebody like Serena Deeb. You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
But if Lady Frost hasn't signed if that banner hasn't said Lady Frost is all,
she's not signed. She's still not signed.
She can't get the opportunities there. She'll just be booked, just like Beth says that every person goes to the arena just wanting to get booked. So she's just doing her job.
Not true.
As a matter of fact, Lady Frost, like, first to answer your question, overrated. I don't know that anybody's trying to rate her. Okay, that's not an insult.
I know
that's
people that are huge.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
But regardless, what Lady Frost is doing, okay, she obviously came up with the gimmick first because she's been doing this since day one that I've ever seen her, right? So now all it takes, she's got her identity out there, which some people go on the independent scene for years trying to figure out who they're going to be. So she already got that part, okay? She looks like, like a She-Ra character or something. So she's got that. Now she's just got to go and get the experience, which to her credit, she's doing. Now, everybody has different aptitude for actual pro wrestling, the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of being in the ring. Some people, it takes them longer to get it. Some people never get it. But what she's doing for her part is she is going and she is traveling and she is getting booked, as it were. So you're talking about her being in your neck of the woods, Jimmy. That's all the way over there. She found out you do, in fact, exist. Then you got
Well,
she was just I just seen stuff getting posted from CMLL where Lady Frost is down there.
She's been everywhere. That's true. To her credit,
she's going everywhere. She's been to TNA. She keeps working the Ring of Honor taping. She's working, the AEW shots when she gets a chance. She's going everywhere that will book her, and that's the best you can do in today's day and age to try to get that experience and get that money and make that name for yourself and try to get signed somewhere. That's actually better for you and your development than if she got the All Elite contract and then she just goes and shows up and sits in catering like most of the people do. All the people that were saying, where were they on this show? She would have been one of them, right? So that's basically what it is. You get that guaranteed money. Now, whether you want to or not, you might even be forced into complacency because they just don't have anything for you this week. Whereas you keep your options open and you get booked in CMLL or you get booked in Australia or you wherever she goes, Europe, everywhere she's been, right? So she's doing her part, but she's still got a ways to go. So she'll get there. Being in the ring with Serena Deeb, you learn at a rapid pace, I can tell you from firsthand experience. So that's a good thing. This match, even if a match doesn't go great, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not even good, it's still a big learning experience for her. We don't get anything much out of it as fans, but for her, it's accelerated learning. So you often learn more from a bad match than you do from having a great match. So, so for that, that's a positive in all this.
No, definitely, man. I find it weird that she hasn't been signed anywhere yet, but like you're right, it's better just to get all that experience, go worldwide, learn the craft properly, and then see what happens. I just don't to be honest, the Sub-Zero gimmick is being overdone already in wrestling, and even though it's only been done maybe 3 times, right? I mean, you had Glacier, you had now Frost. I mean, heck, they should have done a storyline where she's the daughter of Glacier for, he used to appear in AEW, if you remember, with Cody. You know what I mean? So, but now he doesn't. He's gone. He's melted,
but
apparently.
it's like Vet says, she has that ready-made gimmick. It's her gimmick.
No, but that's true. To her credit, she's
her get booked everywhere else, and that's why.
And people remember it too.
People remember her. It keeps her free to be booked everywhere else and make that money, because maybe she doesn't want to be tied down to one contract, to one company and all that stuff. So she could, set her own rates for herself to a degree.
And she was trending weird enough a few weeks back for whatever reason after her Collision match a few weeks ago.
Well, she made some statements against certain ladies in that AEW locker room. So, it is what it is on that.
Right, for sure. Anyway, Vic, let's move on.
Yeah, so anyway, Deeb gets the mic and she calls out in her promo. She basically cuts a similar promo to what she said, but she also in this promo called out House of Black and Tony Storm by saying, when I go wrestle, the lights don't go out. When I wrestle, it doesn't turn black and white. So good. She's at the same time as she's saying like that she's authentic, she's also burying. She's shining a light on how dumb that kind of tropey shit is when you keep doing this, the same tired tropes, as a former AEW wrestler once said. Anyway,
do you think there's some sort of heat maybe towards Deeb, like because she's pretty outspoken?
Well, in real life she's not that outspoken. I think she was just trying to do a strong promo.
Hype up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
More put herself over in that sense. Like, I don't know.
As she should. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Don't worry, guys. By the time Super Card of Honor rolls around, Serena Deeb will challenge for the
Super
ROH.
Card of Honor, you mean?
Super Card of Honor. But she'll challenge for the ROH Women's title, and she'll fight Athena, and probably she'll win that.
That would be a crazy match.
That would be a crazy match.
Great.
She'll probably win it, and then just be relegated to Honor Club, where you have to pay your $9.99 a month.
Oh, well, man, if you guys didn't get enough tables in that opening contest, then I suggest you go to the 2 out of 3 falls tables match that Nyla Rose and Athena had on Ring of Honor.
People were talking that up, dude, like it was great. I haven't watched it, but the AEW marktards out there fully embrace this match.
I said it. Nyla Rose has been killing it on Ring of Honor.
You have. Actually, he has. He has been saying that.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, so Eddie Kingston comes out. He's going to be on the desk for our main event. For commentary, that is Bryan Danielson versus Jun Akiyama. And, well, you know.
There's that long pause. I saw it. There's that long. You're trying to sell it. Sell it.
Well, you
Trust
see,
me, he wants to praise it, but he can't.
All Japan pro wrestling legend Jun Akiyama, you know. I mean, that was a long time ago, but
the masses know him right now, Vet. He's relevant, dude. Come on. Just like all Japan,
that's exactly right.
This is where I lose it with the Marktards out there, and no disrespect. Sometimes, you know, we've said this word too much. Dream match. We've oversaturated the word dream match. I have not talked to anybody within my wrestling circle to say I wanted to see a Bryan Danielson Jun Akiyama match in the last 10 years. I never even uttered that word.
Last 20 years, prof. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, I've never uttered that word. I've been dying for a Bryan Danielson Jun Akiyama match on my TV. I've never said that. I might have said maybe Bryan Danielson against Nigel McGuinness. We might see that at All In. That's fine.
That should have happened 20 years ago too, but you know.
Yeah, but you get where I'm going with that. Give me a dream match that people actually say, I've heard of this person, I've heard of that person, and do it from there. Bryan Danielson with these dream matches to cater to his own ego is not making money. It's not making money. What was the other guy from CMLL? Hakiyama in the mask. I forgot his. See, that's how bad it is.
Hechicero.
Yeah, Etchy.
Etchy Sketch. Did you say Etchy Sketch? Etchy Sketch.
I did.
Versus Bryan Danielson. That's not a dream match. I'm sorry.
Maybe it wasn't. I don't even know if that's one of the ones they said was a dream match, but I will say in
they did say that.
Defense,
they freaking did.
In his defense, he made one new fan, so he's got something, right? Like he's my favorite wrestler now.
About him too, damn it.
Yeah, it's now Hechicero, then Serena Deeb, and then fill in the rest later. But no, but you're right. Yeah,
Etch a Sketch a la carte.
Etch a Sketch a la carte. He's now, but unfortunately, he's back now. I have to go to CMLL if I want to order that. But I mean, yeah, nobody's. This is not nobody's dream. Was this match not the most ardent of Japanese wrestling fans or fans of Bryan Danielson? Nobody once ever on earth said, "Wow, what if Jun Akiyama took on Bryan Danielson?" No one was thinking about it. They just weren't. No disrespect to either one of the guys. It's just, why would you think of it? What's the history there? There is none. It would never have even been a consideration at any point in time, because their heydays are so far apart, right?
Like
so it's
far apart, dude. I mean,
yeah, So
Where's Kenta Kobashi even? Let's bring him back too. Why not? Oh, actually, that might actually happen.
I don't know. He seems to have been happily retired for a long time, because maybe he doesn't want to put on a diaper and just go out there being fat and saggy like.
And that's rare in Japanese wrestling.
Apparently, yeah. It's just, I don't know. So the match itself was, it was a match. I've expressed my sort of disinterest in Bryan Danielson ever since his post, like his unretirement back in WWE. To me, for some reason, just hasn't been the same. Don't enjoy it anymore. But there's always that, even with him though, even with Danielson, there's always that but on this night, perhaps, there's that little spark of hope.
He had but this night when he faced Kenny Omega at Arthur Ashe Stadium, he had it could have been that night when he should have defeated Hangman Adam Page, when he was the top heel in AEW, when they gave him the ball to do that, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted to do that BCC garbage. So Tony Khan dropped the ball on Bryan Danielson twice in AEW when he could have put a rocket ship on his ass and do something in AEW, but they wanted to put him all together with BCC.
Yeah, and even the MJF one. So there's been moments.
He's dropped the ball everywhere. He doesn't know how to go past a certain point. Like, he can get to a middle of a story, right? But then that's it. He can't go to the end. He doesn't know how to finish shit. or to get to the next level in terms of even getting someone over. It's really like a fluke when he does get someone over.
But I mean, look, so this is how I'll look at it. Despite all that, no one also, just like no one thought this was a dream match, no one also thinks that Collision is trying to get any ratings or win any fans either. No one thinks that either.
Right.
So what they've done here essentially is that this is an angle match. It's a match so that it's going to further what Danielson has with Kingston. That's why Kingston's out there. It's a guy that Kingston has a personal connection to. It is a chance for fans to see somebody or be in the presence of somebody who was at least at one time associated with some level of greatness.
Absolutely.
So whether they appreciate it or not is another thing. Whether we as TV viewers care or appreciate it or not, it's another thing. But all in all, it's not bad that this happened.
Let me just say something, Vet. I want to go to you because of your wrestling knowledge on this. I want to backdate this to like the 90s, the Monday Night Wars, and all that stuff. We all know
in the time machine.
Yeah, back in the time machine. Shameless plug. PWR podcast on the Hamin Media Group at podbeam.com. But we have to remember that word, that tape traders, and those were the hardcore of the hardcore fans. Where tape trading, they found all those wrestling matches from New Japan. They found all those matches from All Japan. And, you know, it was good when even Eric Bischoff brought in the cruiserweights from WCW into WCW, brought in the people from New Japan. And Paul Heyman did his job to bring in the cruiserweights and the Japanese wrestlers too. So, you know, I don't want to be hypocritical and say, you know, I'm not invested to see international stars. Don't get me wrong. So, you know, it's not like, but again, going into 2024, Akiyama, we should be happy to see somebody, you know, a Japanese legend, quote unquote. But, you know, do you see a difference between like back then to now with the tape trading? Because maybe it's because there's just so much an oversaturation with social media and YouTube and having all that accessible now in regards to back then. What do you think? I'm just saying, because it feels different now.
No, it is different, but it's 100% because everything's available. There's no mystique. When we were, I say we, I didn't do it, but the people were going to that effort to get those matches that there was just no way to see it. If you didn't have that TV or those shows or whatever in your country, you could not watch them. Here in America, we were subjected to what America had. And even in the territory days, we couldn't even see the other territories. It was based on how far
that blew my mind, dude. That
TV stations, you know, would broadcast, right? So regional television, if you didn't even have cable, which a lot of people didn't in the early 80s, cable was new. So it was like we couldn't even see the stuff in our own whole country, let alone what was going on over in Japan. And those hotbeds of the 4 hotbeds of the world of the United States, Mexico, England, and Japan, like all of those areas had their own styles and their own stars. And that was like revolutionary. And then when guys would come over, like when Tiger Mask would come to the WWF or whatever, and then you get to see like this guy have a match with Dynamite Kid and Boston Gardens, big business in Boston, you know, like that was like a revolutionary thing, but then he would go back and that was it. And if you missed it, you missed it. Now you could type that match in on your phone, watch it on the toilet. You could watch Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask.
Wait, are you spying on me? I do that all the time on my toilet. I'm just saying.
I was just making an educated guess. So anybody can get anything they want. And I think that's the difference, the effort that you had to put in because you really cared. And then there was a level of like snobbery, I guess, that goes along with this. Like,
really
you don't know about the four kings of all Japan, huh? Yeah. Okay. Well, you go on with your Hulkamania and you go sit over there at the kiddie table, right? Like, of course. And I could understand that too. But that's kind of the thing. What I think my biggest problem with the modern sort of fan base, the split between the people that are interested in learning, is I just get so sick of how ready people are to tell you that they've never heard about something and don't care about it.
Yeah, it's
like
bizarre.
I do not care that you don't care. And with the availability of everything nowadays, where everything's at your fingertips, not just in wrestling, but in the whole world, it's all literally at your fingertips. You just make a couple of pokes and swipes and stuff, and you can see pretty much whatever you want to see, know whatever you want to know. You never have to say you don't know anything anymore. When someone asks you a question, you don't ever have to say the word "I don't know." You can instantly know. That's the thing about today. So when people say like, Psh, I've never heard of Jun Akiyama, I don't care, nobody cares. It's like, well, you could quickly just give yourself a refresher. If you're vocal enough to complain about it, you could also learn about it. I'm starting to wonder, what is a wrestling fan if they don't, like, when I'm sure all three of us, when we were young, when a new guy came into a promotion or somebody from another country came into a promotion, we were like, oh, who's this guy? I don't know him. He's new. I want to see more of what's this guy about. Like, we were curious. We were interested. We didn't just immediately, as like 10-year-old kids, be like, Psh, great Muda, go back to Japan, get the fuck out of here. Like, that attitude didn't exist then, but it does now. Yeah. And that's very disturbing to me, because I cannot get on that wavelength. Not even as jaded, old, bitter as I am. I still can't.
I've never ever said that.
I think one thing for me, because I'll use Akiyama as an example. Like you said, Vet. Yeah, I can Google him. I can go on YouTube and watch his matches. But if I can follow him right now because of all the platforms and even on my phone in the crapper, and I watch an Akiyama match from last week, and then maybe he lost that match, let's say hypothetically. Mm-hmm. Why would I care if he's on Collision this week to fight Bryan Danielson when I know he already lost last week? That's my part of that. Is not about not Googling him or not caring about him. Well, maybe more about not caring about him in that sense. Well, he lost last week in Japan. Why should I care about this being a big match on Collision tonight? That's the way I would go. If I can follow somebody from every which way of every promotion, if I follow some wrestler from Mexico to PWG to GCW to Great Britain Rev Pro, and then come back to Collision, God damn it, I'm like, damn, you suck. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm like, damn, you suck, and you lose.
In fairness, and this is going to be a compliment to you, you're different. You're the professor. You look at things differently than 99% of all wrestling fans. And you look at things from not only your own, you probably start with your personal entertainment, but then you've also invested so much more. And you're looking at things from a business perspective, and you're looking at things as like, well, how can these, like, you're getting more out of it than just sitting and watching the product. You think about things differently. You approach things differently, right? Jimmy, you do this too. You can't help it. You just see wrestling differently now. And that's why you look at these things like no one else that would ever even, what you just said about Jun Akiyama, while it was a great point, no one else would ever even think of that. They don't think of it that way. They're just mad that there's an old Japanese guy on television. They just want to complain. Some people ain't happy unless they're complaining. It's fine. But I think it's such a, like, it's such a we're taking our time for granted, because even though a lot of things suck in 2024, one thing is, like, yeah, this match, Jun Akiyama, not great. You can go pull up some matches from the 90s that you will really enjoy, that would be different. And the only reason you might not like them now is because what we see today in today's wrestling is a bastardization of things that All Japan was doing, that New Japan was doing, that WWF was doing, that WCW was doing, that everything was doing. It's just a sort of like a watered down version of all that stuff. That it's hard to actually, like, right? Yeah, it's hard to outdo the originators, of a lot of these things. But a lot of times when you're copying something, like I said about FTR, you can watch all the midnight and rock and roll matches from the 80s that you want, but you're not them. You didn't innovate that. You're copying it, and the way you put it together doesn't make sense the way it made sense when...
I have to counterpoint. It's not copying. It's like a tribute band.
It's flattery. It's flattery.
Flattery.
Right.
The tribute band.
Yeah, and how many tribute bands sell out the same size stadiums that their real bands do?
Hey,
Exactly.
Mark Wahlberg did a
Spot
movie
on.
about that. Mark Wahlberg did a movie about being a tribute band, and it worked for him. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Where's the Funky Bunch tribute band? So you know, I don't know what I'm trying
to. Bud, you have the face for a Funky Bunch reunion tribute band.
Good like Sunkiss, make you want to know who done this.
Nice.
All right, well. So anyway, Bryan Danielson hits a knee on Jun Akiyama for the 1-2-3, just in case we forgot what we were originally talking about here. And then they do a thing where, he shakes his hand. He's like, yeah, I respect you. Shake my hand. Yeah, look. And then Eddie Kingston, he sees Eddie Kingston at the desk and he flips Eddie Kingston off. And Jun Akiyama doesn't like that because Eddie Kingston's his friend and his mentee and all this other stuff. So he goes and he slaps Bryan Danielson, which immediately prompts Bryan Danielson to apologize. Like, oh, you're right. Yeah, slap. Yep, you're right. Sorry, shouldn't have done that. Let's shake hands again. And then he kicks him in the balls. And then it turns into a schmoz. FTR is done with their shower now. They come out. Blackpool Combat Club hits the ring. Everybody, yada, yada, yada. And as the chaos is going on.
I'm sorry, Vet. The consistency, like you said, they were in the shower so long that Mark Briscoe got his ass whipped. But they got out the shower to help Jun Akiyama, who's just coming over on his tourist visa. I'm just saying, go ahead.
It's bizarre, man.
Hey, do you think it could have been an extra long shower because they were watching Elimination Chamber's main event on their phone? Because I could understand that. But yeah, so as the schmaz is going on, a trios match is made for Dynamite. The graphic comes up. Hey, all these guys fighting. They're going to be in a match on Wednesday. So again, one of my everybody knows that one of my favorite things in wrestling is when you use a fight to sell a wrestling match. So here we go. This is what we've done. Tony Khan works fast. He doesn't plan a lot of stuff out. He leaves a lot of it up to just random chance, right? Like
it's truly random. Like it's fluke. When something works with TK, it's legitly a fluke. Yep. Like, you tell me otherwise.
My sources said this was a Peppermint decision. This was that chick that just started. So Peppermint made this match for Dynamite.
She's not just for the ladies. She's all inclusive with her writing and storytelling and consistency, right?
Yes.
So,
look who's back. We've got the Black Mamba in the house. Speaking of Seance, Prof. Yeah, look, guys, long time no see.
Well, we need to talk to you about Jay Briscoe. So if you can stick around. Mark Briscoe needs backup, so I can't think of a better tag team.
Who the hell is Kobe Bryant in the chat, man? I mean, seriously. Anyway. But look, no, you boys are right. I mean, this has been a learning lesson, even for me, just hearing you guys talk what you were just saying. I mean, today's wrestling, and like you said, Vet, earlier, years ago, yeah, there was that snarky, like, oh, you don't know who Jun Akiyama is, you know what I mean? But now it's like you said, it's weird, it's total opposite, and it's bad. Like, they don't even know who it is. They don't care to know who it is because he's not one of them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So automatically, it's like, fuck that. I don't care who this old guy is. I don't care who this.
We have regressed to the tribalism of where we're going to define ourselves. Are you either indie Marktard, or you a New Japan stan, are you an AEW neckbeard, are you an E-drone? But you're going to define yourself by those statements alone, and that's bad for wrestling because, like I said, from my position about it is because there's too much oversaturation with everybody mixing in. Just like we were talking about with Lady Frost,
100%.
Whether she's going to be booked for all these shows and all these promotions, if I finally see you come, let's say on American television, and I'm in my head, like Vet said, I'm going to look at it from a business standpoint, like, okay, well, unless you sign a contract, I can't be invested in you. So I'm 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose. So why should I care? You just being this international person coming in and just and
that's normal to feel that way, right?
Yeah, it's normal. But then again, at least for American television, that's what it was. it's not being. I hate when people say, "Well, WWE brainwashed you in a certain way," but no, there's a
That's
formula.
bullshit.
NWA
Yes.
brainwashed you with Southern wrestling storylines. Mid South brainwashed you with wrestling storylines. AWA brainwashed you with storylines.
With Minnesota storylines.
Yeah. Championship Wrestling from Florida brainwashed you with storylines. There is storylines in American television. It's not just WWE. They just did it because they had the resources and they won that particular war against the territories. So it's not a WWE thing. It's just been an American thing. It's storyline. What happens in Japan is for Japan. What happens in Mexico is for Mexico. But in American television, it is an episodic, storyline-driven wrestling program. No matter where you are, you got to do that. That's just me.
Well, it's not just you, but a lot of people do feel the same way, and I think that's fine. I also think there's an opportunity to take everything that we've ever had up to this point and create something a little bit different and new, too. Something that pro wrestling's never been before. So I don't know. We'll see if we can get that.
Well, before we actually go, I was going to say before we end the show, Tim Kupina, aka Josh, wants to know: do you think today's fans are spoiled because of technology? I'll go to you first, Vet.
Oh yeah, 100%. Come on,
Prof, you agree?
It's made things easier, but then by extension, that makes us weaker and softer.
Somehow, right, Prof?
Right. It makes you spoiled because of the way you're gonna interpret certain things. Just like I said, I'm using the technology in my arguments is based on business. Like I said, with Akiyama or with Lady Frost being booked, if I can see her or him in every promotion on my phone, then comes to Collision. Well, this match with Bryan Danielson, not a dream match. It's a enhancement match to build on Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, since they're two contracted AEW All Elite wrestlers who are going to be on a pay-per-view soon, and they got to build that match for me to be invested in. So yeah, we are spoiled in that aspect.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all, but at the same time, the mindset of today is just bizarre to me. Like, you don't have to think like that, though. You know what I mean? You should embrace it, if anything. I know we do, but technically we should embrace it because it's there at our fingertips. I mean, heck, if it wasn't for technology, the three of us wouldn't even know each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, isn't technology that mind blowing? Right, exactly.
Spot on, it can be used for good or evil. That's basically, just like any tool. So
like anything,
we could have worked. It could have worked. We would just had to carry pigeons. We would have wrote our opinions, and then Ved would have had my message. You would have had my message, and all that, and back and forth, and we could have done it. Could have worked.
That's right. Yeah, but that doesn't, that doesn't account for the poor chat. They're missing out on all these rolled up little pieces of paper and stuff. So like we wouldn't have that aspect to it. But the technology thing is a good question, and like I said, I do think people are spoiled with it. But it can be used for good. So I think it's up to everyone to sort of try to find the good that you can, use technology for. If you can see something if something inspires you to look at something else, like, hey, maybe you don't care about 2024 Jun Akiyama, but maybe, 1994 Jun Akiyama is something you might be interested in. Who
93
knows?
Akiyama was really good though.
Yes. So, but that's the other thing too. It's like the way that one thing, I don't know if it's the brainwashing per se, but one thing about the WWE and this whole thing of taking pro wrestling as a pseudo sport so far away from it into the goofy entertainment aspect of it is that we forget it's supposed to be a sport kind of. So AEW promised us a sports-based presentation, but I don't know what sport they're talking about because none of this has any sort of structure or rules or anything. People are getting stabbed in the head with spikes and whatnot, just like happens in every NBA game. But also like sports, if we do take that perspective to it, if wrestling's a sport, much like real sports, quote unquote real, much like those sports, there are many fans who don't care about the regular season, but when the playoffs come, then they're a little bit more invested because now we've gotten rid of all the pointless stuff.
Right,
and then there's people that just love watching the sport so much they will watch 162 games of baseball. They will watch it. They've seen every in their life. Vince Russo, right? Big, huge baseball fan. He's seen every permutation of baseball that you could ever see. He's seen every kind of pitch, every kind of swing. He's seen guys strike out. He's seen guys go yard. He's seen double plays, triple plays, stealing home. He's seen everything you can see in baseball. He will never see anything new in baseball. And yet this man, when baseball is on a strike or whatever, he will watch Korean baseball just to get his baseball fix.
Korean baseball?
Because whoever's playing baseball, he needs to see guys playing baseball that much. And I understand that and I respect that. There's a lot of wrestling fans like that. There's a lot of wrestling fans that don't care how many Japanese legends you bring over. Just give me all of them. I'll watch everything. Any 2 guys in a ring, any 10 guys in a ring, I'll watch all of it. There's people that like that. There's people that only care when, a former wrestler who's, now a Hollywood actor comes back and now they all of a sudden decide they have an opinion on a guy named Cody Rhodes. It's just, you get everything in between those 2 extremes. And, that's what makes everything so exciting and frustrating at the same time.
Frustrating is an understatement. Do you think it's also, people are influencing each other too much? You know what I mean? Like no one's thinking for themselves anymore. I mean, obviously there are people, and obviously all of us and our lovely chat, have the same mindset in that sense. But most of the fan base these days are just easily influenced by one another. So if one person says this person sucks, the other person deep down might feel, oh, but I like him, but I can't say it publicly because I'm going to get shat on. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is, a lot of people, because again, for the professor, I'll just speak for myself. I could be on an island of my own opinions, and I like that. I like to be
right, as you should like that.
I like, but there are people who just are afraid to stand on their own opinions and stand on what they like or what they don't like.
Right,
they have to join the cliques, and they have to join whatever fan base just to be part of something. And whether they like it or not, it's just more like. Again, the mental, it's the mental thing too. The mental, we always say that the mental issues. If a lot of people are harping on you of an opinion you're making, some people can't deal with that. And it gets to them. It really gets to them. And as far as with the baseball analogy, yeah, I could watch, I like baseball too. And when it was on strike, if I could find the Caribbean baseball, because again, I'm a Puerto Rico all the way. So I'll find my fix too. With Caribbean baseball or Japanese baseball too. Same thing with basketball.
That makes sense because of your background though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But again, with basketball too, if I can't get my NBA fix, I'll watch Africa. I'll watch the China leagues. I'll watch
Euro League is good to watch actually, Prof.
No, I don't have to follow it. I just want to see
Exactly,
playing basketball. And the same thing with wrestling. If it's great to have an alternative. It's great to watch WWE Raw and their presentation and knowing how sports entertainment based they are, and then I like the alternative of AEW being wrestling centric. But again, I can say, well, there's certain things in WWE I don't like. I wish they would fix up and clean up a little bit. Same thing with AEW. You can find certain things to clean up. I don't want AEW to turn into WWE AEW. I just want them to clean up certain things and make their presentation better than what it has to be. But I don't want it to go out of business. I don't want New Japan to go out of business. I don't want to be that kind of fan. Say I want someone to go out of business and have the only show in town. That's bad for business.
It's very bad for business, and I don't understand those idiots that say that about either one, like AEW or WWE. I don't know, man. People, human beings, are weird creatures in 2024, man, and it blows my mind every time I think about it. But anyway, fellas. Is there anything else we need to touch on, or should we call it a day?
Well, I just would like to thank Professor for saving this show, coming
Absolutely.
in with the president, because this was about to be really just a lot of, this match happened. You see that? All right, next. So I appreciate the Professor. I don't get to spend enough time with him, so I'm always glad to when I get to have a nice face-to-face and talk wrestling. So thanks again.
Because you know what? Thanks to you, Professor.
And your check's in the mail. Don't worry. Yeah, thank you for that. But the check's in the mail. I got you.
Money.
No, big business. But
Big business
but for
in
real,
Boston, baby.
right, and we are going to give our grades, Labrat. Don't you
yeah.
worry. We definitely will give our grades. I'm just saying, like, this is the major proportion of the show is pretty much done and dusted. But Prof, it's always a pleasure having you on, man. Always. And I love seeing you guys. Have you guys interacted with shows before?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the next level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Man,
Just
I don't
not
know.
enough.
It's-
That's all.
Right, it's rare. That's why. Exactly. But anyway, boys, if we had to give,
If I come every week, then you get oversaturated, and then it will be Dane. It's not going to be as special. I bring the speciality into it.
That's right.
you do absolutely. Well, Vet, if you had to give it a grade, what would it be, man?
C minus. If I could just minus everything I see on this show, that would probably be the best. But no, I think it's a C minus. I got a lot of a la carte items. None of them were particularly filling or tasty this week, but you know, I beggars can't be choosers, I guess. So I'll say it was a C minus with a lot of opportunities.
Well, nicely put, Prof. If you had to give it A to Z rating, I guess, what would it be?
You really go that low to Z? I don't know. I'm just wow.
Sometimes I think about it. I'm telling you.
Well, if
It's
I go
such a thing.
again, I'll go with the wrestling. The wrestling is always. I'll give it a B plus with the wrestling because that's what they do. They do great wrestling. The C for consistency. No, I can't give it for that, but I'll give it a C minus for consistency. So if I merge it together, is that a C plus?
I guess it is.
Yeah.
I guess it would be. Well, keeping it with the 3 C's, I'm going to go C minus, just like what the vet said. Like you said, Prof, the matches are fine and cool and all, but give me a reason to care about the matches. And there was really no reason for me to care about the matches because I don't understand what the hell's going on anymore with this company. I didn't know now you have to watch Ring of Honor also to know why a certain match is happening on Dynamite or friggin' Collision. But Collision has become a show that was great at first, man. I couldn't be happier with the first 3 weeks of Collision. Heck, I was hyped. I was literally hyped for this show when it first started. And it was a breath of fresh air for AEW and pro wrestling in general because it felt completely opposite to what Dynamite felt. But now they've just gone away from it. Forget those little Saturday night main event promos that we used to get on Collision before the actual show would start. They just don't happen anymore. I like that aspect.
No time for promos. Thunder Rosa needs a statement match.
Oh, a bank statement maybe. Big business.
Big business in Boston. Money.
Money. I hate that, but I love it at the same time. Anyway, so that's the 3 C's from us. So in saying that, boys, I'll start with you, Vet. Tell them where they can find you, man.
At Opinion Haver everywhere, all your favorite social media platforms and any other platforms. I got, let's see, Next Level Wrestling Review every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we got Impact Attack every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. If you want to interact live on YouTube and Twitch, those are the times. If not, catch it on Channel Attitude later. Check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers every single Friday at their concrete time of seems like it's 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So they've been pretty consistent with that. No guest this past week, but coming up on Friday, you guys are definitely going to want to see when none other than New Japan Pro Wrestling television champion Matt Riddle stops by and talks to the fellas. So check that out. That's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Matt Riddle's jumping on Wrestling with Rip Rogers. So this is your chance.
His camera's going to be his camera's going to be smoky. You know that. He's just going to be foggy and all that stuff.
Yeah, bro. So man, there's that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good get.
Yep. And then Stevie Richards' Wrestling Analysis channel just hit 100,000 subscribers this past week, and he's got awesome, lots of new content coming down the pike for you guys. So stay tuned to all of his channels.
as a matter of fact, Vet, he just dropped something right now, and it's about if you're over 50 and getting more sleep.
Oh.
Or better sleep,
Is
shall I
this about
say.
Jun
Yeah.
Akiyama or?
It could be. It could be. I just saw it come up as a notification. So if you need your sleep and want to know how to sleep better, just watch Stevie. He'll tell you. Sorry, Vic, continue.
NyQuil, Jun Akiyama matches equal great.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. 2024 Jun Akiyama matches. Let's say.
Bangers,
yeah,
bro.
I'm all done. It's all for the professor to tell us where they can find him.
You can find me on the Xer at PWSOPROF. That's PWSOPROF. And we just dropped our latest PWR episode. It is the PWR debate special between me and the Tommy Wonder, where we debate who's the greatest television champion of all time. I'm on the side of Arn Anderson. TW's on the side of Tully Blanchard. So we are trying a new concept, debate special. So check that out on the Hamin Media Group at podbean.com. We just dropped that episode. And you can find my partner in crime, Tommy Wonder, at the Tommy Wonder on the Xer 2.
Can I just say on that concept, hopefully in the future, there'll be even more heated debates, because like if I had to take a true or false quiz and it said Tully Blanchard was the television champion, true or false, I would have to think.
Oh, see?
So I clearly think Arn Anderson is the choice there, but I guess Tommy, you'll have to hear how Tommy put up an argument.
TV, wasn't he?
Apparently so, yes.
Right.
But I'm just saying,
absolutely.
I'm just saying that's how much I don't think of him as that.
It's just, again, it's just another experimental show. We had fun doing that debate special, and we're going to have more future debates on the PWR podcast. So it was a great episode. So just take a listen to it. Jimmy, upload that episode, all right, for the PWC network, all right?
I was actually doing that right now, as a matter of fact, funny enough.
God bless you, sir. God bless
you. Which is hilarious. Actually, I need to talk to you too. Thank you. But anyway, so if you want to follow me on the X, you can at DJ Mass Effects, and you can follow us at the PWC Network. Like and subscribe right here at channelattitude.com, where for $5, not only do you get the realest talk, but also the best talk in all of professional wrestling. And also at HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows, including yours, Prof, which you just mentioned, and also at the PWCNetwork.podbean.com for everything else. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T, that is the vet Jamie Williams, and that is the Professor Chabela Veracruz, and you've been listening and watching the Saturday Night Wreckage right here on channelattitude.com via Hamin Media Group, and we're out. See yous.